Hi guys, it's SimLicy here, so welcome to another part of my Furnishing My Starter Home series. This is actually going to be the last part of this series, at least for now. Of course, we have one more world that came since I started this project. So maybe I'll end up building a starter house for that and furnishing it. I might just actually record the exterior and then do the interior, because for my save file originally, I just kind of was playing around with the starter home idea and ended up liking them and never recorded the exteriors. That's why you guys don't see the exteriors being built in these videos. But maybe for future ones I will, so let me know what you guys think about that. But for now, this is the last part. So all of the starter houses in my save file have been completely furnished, and you can download them from the gallery or you can decorate them yourselves. All of them are up on the gallery as empty builds as they are originally, and as they are in my save file too. So if you download my save file, all of the starter houses are empty. They're move-in ready homes, and I just love them so much. I think they're so cool, and I've really had a lot of fun working on them, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed them too. And if you've played in my save file, hopefully you guys have enjoyed like decorating them yourselves, or coming up with your own stories for different families and households living in them. I don't know, I really like the idea, and I'm happy that I ended up going with it because I've enjoyed it a lot. But this time I am here in the world of Brichester, which is the last world that we got before I finished this project. Since then, we've got the world of, what is it called? The one that we got with Eco Lifestyle. I don't remember the name. What is it called? Evergreen Harbor? Yeah, I think that's what it is. Sometimes it's so impossible to remember the names. But yeah, Evergreen Harbor, and then hopefully we'll get more worlds in the future, and I'll build starter houses for them and keep updating my save, and it's such a big project. But anyways, for now I am working on these townhouses. Now I should say this is the only starter house in my save file that isn't technically a starter house, because it's two houses. So I think it's closer to like 40,000 simoleons. So hopefully that doesn't bother you guys, but it was going to be pretty much impossible to make them the way I wanted to with a $20,000 budget, because in case you guys don't know, starting off in the Sims with a single Sim, you get 20,000 simoleons to begin with. So that's basically like your starter budget. The more Sims you add to your household, the more simoleons you actually get. I don't really know how much it increases per sim, but it does increase a little bit. So this can actually fit quite a few Sims in it. I only decorated it for 4 Sims, so 2 Sims in each townhouse, but you could easily have more. You could probably actually split the bedrooms to be 2 smaller rooms if you wanted to have separate rooms. With like single beds in them, I think it would actually work pretty well, especially for students. I'm having this be like a regular house though, because if you run it as a student house, then you can't have a stove. And I know they said they did that because for dorm buildings, they wanted you to actually be forced to go out into the common areas and have your Sims interact on campus a little bit more. So I get that, but for student houses like this, it really doesn't make any sense. So you can change that if you would like to. You could do like a bunch of smaller rooms and have a bunch of roommates, get rid of the stove, run it as a student house, and it would work perfect like that. You could even just have roommates in general too, but they won't necessarily be students. There is a mod though that will allow you to keep the stove. I've used it before and it worked great. I think it still works and is still a thing, hopefully. Because yeah, I think it's pretty necessary. But that's why I decided to do that. And the reason I decided to go for 2 Sims in each townhouse was basically just the size and shape of the room. And I didn't really feel like doing single beds. It would have been a lot of beds, but you could fit like a ton of Sims in here. I think probably a full household each. I think 4 Sims in each townhouse would probably fit perfectly. You could even make the bathrooms a little bit smaller if you wanted to, like reposition the windows now that we have the ability to put windows on a different grid than they originally snapped to, because that wasn't a thing when I built this. So I think there's a lot more possibilities if you guys wanted to renovate this a little bit more. But anyways, I think I should talk about the personalities of the Sims living here. So the first room that I decorated, which was on the first floor, well actually the second floor of this building, is going to be for a male Sim, I imagined. And I was trying to think of these Sims like personalities, their connections, and so for him, I think Well, both of these students in this townhouse are very studious. They're kind of like opposites from the students in the other townhouse because they're not very serious about their studies. I mean, one of them kind of is, but they're definitely more into like the social aspects of school and partying and all that kind of stuff. But these Sims are very serious. So the first one is the most serious. I think he studies history and he wants to be like a professor, and he's just like very, very serious about school. Like he only studies. They have basically no social life other than each other, and they don't go to parties. They don't do anything. Maybe they're in a club, and that's basically like the only social interaction they get, and it's just a student club. It's not like a club for a hobby or anything. And this student, as you can probably tell, is an art student, and I imagine she is a very serious artist. She really wants to be like a famous painter. She wants to be in galleries. Maybe someday she wants to even be an art critic or something, but for now she really just wants to get her art degree and be a very serious, respected painter. And so I really like this idea for her, and I think it's really cute. And I feel like her and her roommate have known each other for a very long time. They've grown up together, and they were able to find this townhouse that they could share bills and things. But I really feel like they're both from wealthy families, and so their families have helped them out, especially if they're being very serious in their studies. They're willing to help them pay for their rent. And these Sims in this townhouse, like I said, I don't think they're as serious about school. Of course, they want to do a good job and get their degrees because they're here, but they're really wanting to party and socialize and go to the bar and like, you know, be in sports and just like really have that full like social experience when it comes to school, and not so much the academic experience. And I think that's kind of a fun idea to have them live next to each other, because it's kind of like they could have just very conflicting personalities about school and about noise, because I feel like these Sims are very loud, and the other ones, they're probably, if they're not up late studying, they're in bed early to get to school early the next day. So they're very annoyed of like the noise level and like the mess and like just like the chaos that comes from this townhouse. And I think that's so much fun. And I also was thinking that as like an extra twist, as you guys like played along with this story, of course you don't have to do this, but what I was thinking was the girl from that townhouse maybe ends up getting a crush on the guy from this townhouse, and maybe ends up kind of seeing like a little bit of this like more kind of party atmosphere that she finds appealing and she wants to be a part of, or at least get some experience to. And then her roommate is furious about it. Like he is like, this is not what we're at school for. This has not been our plan our entire life. We've been planning on going to university together since we were kids, and we're going to be these serious like professionals, you know. And so he's not having it at all. And I really like that story. I thought it was pretty fun. And maybe he even has a bit of a crush on her too, and that's why he even gets so mad at her for wanting to maybe branch out a little bit and find other friends. But she doesn't seem that way. He's totally, you know, just her friend and has been her friend for years, and she just doesn't see him anything other than more of like a brother. So that's what I was imagining. Hopefully you guys like that story, because I felt like I really got into it, and I feel like I've been kind of struggling with stories recently, so it was kind of refreshing. But both of the townhouses, as you can probably tell, are very similar in layout. They're basically just mirrored to each other, and I feel like that makes a lot of sense for a townhouse like this. And the bathrooms are all very similar. I tried to make them fit the personalities of the Sims that they were closest to, but really they're just communal bathrooms, because the first floor doesn't have a bathroom on either townhouse because I just really couldn't fit it in. Unfortunately, that's not something I like to do, but that's just how it works out. But as you can see, both of them do have very different decorating styles. The first one I tried to make it look more put together and more organized and not as messy. This one obviously has like, you know, a pizza box on the coffee table, and then there's like Chinese takeout on the counter and just like a bit more mess. It's not like totally trashed or anything, but you know, there's a little bit of mess around. Like they're not too worried about cleaning up after themselves too much. They don't have like the nicest decorations. I imagine they are paying their own rent. They don't have any parents or scholarships or anything helping them out. Maybe this guy actually has a little bit of a scholarship, because I did imagine he's an athlete. As you can see, I'm putting like posters around that are more soccer related than anything. So maybe he plays soccer for school, but you know, he's just one of those guys that still doesn't take school that seriously. He's much more into socializing. I mean, as I've said a ton, and I tried to make his room feel messy and not as like put together and stuff as the other one, because like I was saying, I think that they pay their own way mostly. He might have a bit of a scholarship, but not like a full ride or anything. Maybe he just got like a minor scholarship. I'm not really sure what you would call that. But they're working. They're yeah, other than that, they do go to school. They're getting passing grades, but maybe one of them struggling more than the other. I imagine this one's struggling more than the other one, because I do think he takes it a bit more seriously, because the other sim living in this townhouse, I think, is more into science. Oh, and something I completely have forgot to mention. I think they go to opposite universities too, so to add even more to their oppositeness, these sims I imagine go to the Foxbury Institute, and then the other sims I imagine go to Brightchester University. So I tried to use some university decorations that reflect those different universities and also the different majors to reflect the universities too. So the Brightchester students, history and art, and then the Foxbury students, sports and science. I couldn't think of the word for a second. I was thinking more robotics, because of course that was like the new skill and new activity and thing that came with Discovery University. So I thought that was pretty perfect. And yeah, I just had so much fun with this. So hopefully you guys, I don't know, are liking it as much as I am. And maybe you guys have came up with different personalities for this townhouse. So if you have, let me know, because I would love to hear them. Because honestly, when I was building these townhouses, I didn't really have a clear vision of the types of sims that I would want living in these townhouses. I honestly imagined putting single beds in these rooms and putting probably 2 per room. So you could easily do that, but I just wanted to add more decorations and have double beds, and there's still a lot of possibilities. So I feel like you guys could go either way with this. But as you can see, I'm decorating the more sciencey student's room now, and I absolutely love his room. I think his room is my favorite out of all of them. I just think the decorations worked out so well. So yeah, this is basically it though for the build. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one, and I hope you guys do enjoy the screenshots. So thank you so much for watching, and please leave any comments or suggestions that you have, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye!
You keep me wondering, is our love strong? Just like a love song, baby, it's haunting me. Don't know what you're thinking, it's like I'm sinking deep underwater. Maybe it's harder, harder, harder for me. Oh, harder for me. Maybe we're over it, or maybe just lovers, 'cause under the covers, baby, you're showing me how to be fearless, so no one can hear us. You're throwing the pillars to the floor. Now put your loving, loving, loving on me. Eh, loving on me. Maybe you won't see me get emotional, and sometimes I pretend I'm just above it all. But I want you lying next to me. Yeah, I want your body, body, body too. Yeah, body too. And baby, please don't think I run away from you. It's just sometimes I get scared to dive into it. I want you lying next to me. Yeah, I want your body, body, your body too. Yeah, body too. Will you be my ride or die? Around all these people, we'll try to be someone better than you and I. Posing for pictures, but nobody listens to anything that you have to say. Can we just leave and walk away? Walk away, walk away.